Hi guys, and welcome to BOGA, Wellness with BOA. Today we have Hailey Hechtman, a normal icon, everyday superhero kind of girl. Girl, right?
Yeah.
She, her, perfect. Girl. Great. So I guess let's just get into it. Hi Hailey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for asking. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Today I had some really crazy makeup issues. If you notice, I have some glitter under my eye. Let's point to the camera a little bit. It's because for some reason, every time I do my eyeliner, it just my eyes just want to water and then take away all my makeup. And today we had to throw some glitter on it, but
Looks beautiful.
improv, right?
I'm into it.
What does Martha Stewart say when guests show up and you haven't had time to shop for dinner?
What?
You improvise.
There you go.
Improv, baby. Okay, so today's topic is, I guess, a loose discussion about mental health, eating disorders, and I guess anything under that umbrella term. I don't really want to just say it's one thing, rather than more of an umbrella kind of theme that we're going to be talking about, because I feel like everybody eats. I would hope so.
That seems, yeah.
Yeah, I would hope that everybody eats. And I think that eating disorders are something that we don't speak about in not only the gay community, because I find that thinness is very celebrated, but also drag queens as well. And I think that a lot of gay men, it'll be joked about, which is what I will be doing, if that's okay with you. But wow, what a great way to start. But I like to use humor as a way to kind of cope with things.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just kind of what we do as a society, and especially with body image. I've noticed a lot, drag queens and gay people. So let's learn a bit about you. I know you work with different agencies, and let's just hear about the kind of work you do.
Yeah. So I've been working in mental health for about a decade.
Nice. I've
at
been
this
struggling with
point.
mental health for more than a decade.
Yeah, same here. I've worked in a lot of different organizations. I actually started my career working in crisis lines and connecting with people one-on-one, and did a lot of different things in that space. And then worked with people with developmental disabilities and people struggling to find work who are working around their mental health, and now working on storytelling, so supporting an organization that helps people tell their stories when it comes to mental health.
That's amazing. That's really,
Yeah.
so you're fighting the good fight here. You're not
Yeah.
only, you're not like somebody who just kind of works the back end of things. Not to put anybody down, but you've done it. You've literally, how long have you been working in this industry for?
Yeah, I've been working since I was 19.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
so yeah.
So it's
Quite a while.
It's all you know is to
Yeah.
I guess help people.
Yeah.
That's really great. I think it's really cool that that not only did you start with a crisis line, which seems like it would be really, really intense, but you've also managed to find yourself able to help people with developmental issues. So my mom works with kids with learning disabilities, and so I've kind of always seen, I would meet her students, she would bring me to her school and everything, and I've always kind of been around those kids, and it was actually really cute because growing up, you know when you see your teacher at the mall, it was kind
Yeah.
of crazy. She would see her students sometimes, and they would always run up to her and give her a big hug. And
Oh, that's nice.
I know, and it's like when you work with people like that, they really appreciate you and they have a love for you, and their love knows no bounds.
Yeah,
That's
very
It's
true.
really special. And so now you work for an organization that is all about storytelling. So can you give me an example of how that would work? What you do with an organization like that?
Yeah, so really the premise of the organization was based on this idea that if we harness the power of storytelling, we can change perception. So we help people from lots of different backgrounds, experiences, come up with their story. So thinking about what do they want people to understand about their experience? Are they ready to share their story? We kind of walk them through that whole process and support them to come up with that story in a modality that makes sense for them. So some people want to share that through video, and some people want to write their story, and some people want to create poetry, really making sure that we're sharing a diverse range of experiences, because the more people see other people who've had similar experiences as them talk about their mental health, the safer it is for you to do that yourself. And so, yeah, I think it's really, I've been in the organization now just a couple of months, and But I've been telling my own story for a long time and have been writing for a long time, and it's something I really love.
So I'm getting kind of warm.
Yeah, it is pretty warm in here.
Yeah, it's kind of warm, right? I
Yeah.
thought it'd be freezing. It's like
Hot, hot, hot.
there we go. That's cute. Oh, it's okay. It's fine. No, I'm gonna keep it. It looks great. Don't look at me. Okay. I'm just joking. It's really important to I don't want to say talk about your issues, but tell your story, because somebody hearing your story can help them so much, not feel so alone, feel empowered to tell their own story. Also it can empower them to figure out ways to change their narrative, if that makes sense. I don't want to be like toxically positive, like, oh, just think happy thoughts, change the narrative and switch it up. And but like really, like there's ways around things, and people talking about how they got themselves out of different situations, and it can be really inspiring. And actually, you know what? Okay, so do you know Elvira?
Yeah.
Like the Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah.
So she, Elvira, I love you. Everyone loves you. She actually just came out this year in her autobiography,
Amazing.
where she talked about how she got out of an abusive relationship, and in turn, she took somebody in that was an old gym trainer of hers, and they have been together ever since. This person was like either just out of rehab or going to rehab, and they showed up at her doorstep. I was like, hey, I need your help. And she was like, okay, well, you can stay here for a bit. And they've been together for like almost like 20 years or something like that.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But it was so beautiful the way she told it. And it was so inspiring, especially at her age. She had kids, and she was stuck in an abusive relationship, and it was so moving to hear her tell that side of the story. And it makes me feel, what's the word, comfort for people who may be experiencing something similar, because if that was able to move me in that way, then I wonder what it does for somebody who's possibly experiencing something like that.
Yeah, well, even, hearing somebody's story that's completely different from your experience, like there's always something that you can resonate with. Like you may never have been in the same position as them, you may never have dealt with something that they dealt with, but like I think the thing that unites everyone is the emotion behind it. Like there's something in someone's story, even if they are from a completely different background, that you can connect to. And usually that helps you build compassion, because now you've understood something about someone that on the surface you wouldn't have realized, but now you have a deeper understanding of them, and maybe that makes you look at other people differently and say, okay, maybe I don't have the full picture here. There's something else that I want to know. I have to be curious and open to their experiences, because we don't know anything just by assuming from the surface what someone's been through. Yeah.
That's actually really crazy. You are blowing my mind right now. Holy shit, I have so many things I want to say. Are we good? Yeah? Okay, great. I have so many things I actually really want to respond with that with. Yes, hearing people's stories are really great, because it can also show you a side of them that will help you, I guess, interact with them in a better way, on a more human level, because we all have different experiences with people, and we all, whether we work together, whether we're in a friends group circle, we all understand. It helps us understand that we all kind of have different traumas and different lived experiences, which is why certain people act a certain way or don't act a certain way. Yeah. You know what I mean? And having that kind of compassion and empathy, is empathy the right word? Yeah. Perfect. I'm not much of a scholar. More of a beautician. Beautician. I actually dropped out of beauty school.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to Seneca for one term, and I dropped out.
Well, like, look how beautiful you are.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't need that. I'm a beauty school dropout.
Yeah, you can learn on your own. Most people are learning on their own anyway.
Literally. Well, that's kind of what this podcast is. It's like we're kind of learning together. Yeah. And I don't fucking know anything about anything, man. Literally, like, I just know that I'm fucked. And like, I have a lot of experiences that I think will resonate with people, and I'm trying to kind of create a gift for people where I can talk about things and help relate to people and let them know that they're not as alone. And I think that is. Okay, so J.R.R. Tolkien, however you say their name, I actually heard this on an audiobook yesterday. When I work out, I listen to audiobooks, and one of the books was talking about how you need to look at your work as like a gift. And in turn, that is what will make a good body of work, as it is literally a gift. It's not something you're doing to pound the pavement and I guess just get your bills paid, because then that takes the soul out of it almost.
Yeah.
So so whoever wrote The Lord of the Rings, we'll just say that.
Gerald Tolkien.
J.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tolkien.
R.R. I think it's R.R.
R.R. He's a pirate. Jesus. So he would tell his kids stories. And it was just a hobby of his, just to tell his kids stories. And that was his little gift to his kids. He would always tell them their stories. And then he got inspired to start writing his stories. And then that's how The Hobbit came out.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? And
Yeah.
it started as just like a gift.
Yeah. Well, and I think you said you don't know anything about anything. And I think that's so unfair to say to yourself. Because I feel like lived experience is an expertise that we don't value enough.
For sure.
Like, there's so much that we are learning every day that you take with you into interactions with other people and into the way that you look at the world and the way that you communicate with other people, that if you didn't have that experience, you wouldn't be able to show up the way that you are. And like, that's such an important form of expertise.
You just gagged me. You gagged me on my show. Wow. This is that Ellen you didn't invite. I did invite you to my party and you didn't come.
But with a compliment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't want you to think I sell myself short, because I am fucking so up my ass that I can very rarely sell myself short. I am only 5'6", so I am kind of short. But in the sense of like, I don't know. I think that like growing up, I was really I grew up in Windsor, and a lot, and especially with the kind of industry I chose, is very different from a normal 9 to 5 that you would see. Probably yours too, actually. So it's like you go to school, you go to college, you work as a PSW or a freaking lawyer or whatever you do, and then that's it. And that's your 9 to 5, and then you live comfortably, you have your security, and then you die. Or you go work at a factory, and then you get like addicted to Percocets, and then you die. Whatever. That's how it works in Windsor, literally. But with me, it's like you can't really go to school to be a drag queen.
Yeah.
I mean, like RuPaul has like a master class, but like that's only $54.99, and that only takes up like a week of my time, not even. So you kind of got to figure out ways to get yourself out there and give yourself to your community and your audience more. I really lost where I was going, but so selling myself short. So you really have to learn your own way of things. And my dad even said, he would always say, Boa, the dancing diva, you're very street smart. I was like 16 and my dad told me I was street smart. I'm like selling coke upstairs. No, I'm just joking. I never sold coke because I would just do it all. Yeah, that's so crazy. That's really, really interesting. I can actually do ventriloquism.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's a like, pretty cool secret talent.
That's a cool secret talent. But you know what? You know what's hard? Okay, I'll do my ABCs for you. Let me have some water. I'll do this side so I don't get any transfer. Just in case there's any transfer, there normally isn't with Lady Gaga's lip gloss. Pretty good.
That's mine already has pink.
Show the cup.
Oh, the cup.
The cup that I'm wearing, or the cup that I've got? I like that one. Hey yo. Excuse me. Okay, so I'll do the ABCs really quickly. I'll explain to you. So what ventriloquists do is they substitute sounds for different letters, because there are different letters that you can't say without
opening your mouth
and closing your mouth.
Yeah,
so like M, V, P. So for P, you would say like roll your tongue about P, like picture. Isn't that crazy? I'm like not a pro yet. I'm not gonna sell myself short, but like so that is one thing that they'll do. Is so if you ever notice that some of their words sound a bit strange, it's because they have to substitute letters. Another thing is,
makes sense.
I saw on TikTok, there's this woman, I can't remember her name, but she has a puppet of a monkey, and she's like she's from Ireland or Scotland or something, and she is amazing. She is like has created such a career for herself as a ventriloquist. And there's a video of her on TikTok with two people where she has these masks that she puts on people, and she uses like this remote to
Yeah.
open and close the mouth.
Oh.
And so she'll talk for people, and it's like so funny and ridiculous.
Okay.
But I have a hard enough time having one conversation. This bitch is having 3 conversations.
That's like
on
a
stage.
lot of multitasking.
That's a lot of multitasking while being entertaining and funny and engaging and staying with the audience. I can't even wipe my ass half the time, honestly, Hailey. Like, I don't know how she does it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you my ABC. So let's see if I know how to do it. Can I get like a drum roll or something? Or okay. Okay, stop. Thank you. Wait. Okay, now stop looking at me. I'm so nervous. Oh my god, why did you want me to do this? Jesus.
I didn't.
Freaking weirdo. Yeah, you did. We're just gonna edit that out, okay? Okay. A, B, C, so B you can't say, so it has to be D. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. How am I doing? Good?
Yeah, you're doing pretty well.
Okay. Well, you're not looking at
I'm
me.
pretty.
You're afraid to look me in the
I'm not
eye.
looking at you.
You okay?
Yeah, you told me not to not look at you because it's making you nervous.
And you're listening.
Yeah,
That's good.
I'm listening.
I'm really
I'm paying
testing your
attention.
listening skills. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Improv. Okay. Where was I? F, G, H, I, wait. F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. That's pretty good. Was that okay?
That was well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
Are you guys lying to me?
No.
Okay, so if I actually move my lips,
was believable.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna freeze the actual frame, and we're just gonna you do the sound, okay?
Yeah.
Give me something to say. Give me something cool to say.
I'm caught in the garbage chute.
No, that's full of letters that I can't say, you sicko.
Welcome to BOGA. Wellness with BOGA.
Welcome to BOGA. Wellness with Goa. Next week, I'm gonna be a full-fledged ventriloquist.
You're gonna practice every day.
I'm gonna practice every day. I really embarrassed myself today, didn't I? Oh shit. Oh man. Well, I did drop out of beauty school. Right before they were gonna teach us ventriloquism, I said, "You know what, Kathy? That's it." Okay, so I guess in your experience, what would you say is, I guess, more common? What kind of eating disorder would be more common? Either compulsive eating, bulimia, anorexia, or anything else I could be forgetting?
Yeah, I would say I think it really depends on the person. I think one of the things that's really interesting about eating disorders is the fact that we have such limited information in a lot of ways when so many people don't come forward with their experiences, right? Like there's a lot of assumptions around what an eating disorder looks like. There's really strict parameters around having a diagnosis. Like the medical system hasn't really caught up to what eating disorders look like now at this point in time. So I think it's really hard to say what it would look like in terms of most common. But there's a lot of myths that I've seen around eating disorders. Like one example that really strongly comes to mind for me is, the idea that you could tell that someone has an eating disorder by looking at them. That there's this idea of, someone with an eating disorder looks a certain way or is a certain size, or, that you can tell about their physical characteristics. And, from my own personal experience, I struggled with an eating disorder for many years, and nobody knew because I had gone from a larger body to a smaller body. And that smaller body was, one that was really encouraged by society. So nobody knew that I was struggling because I wasn't this kind of picture of a really small, description that you would normally see for someone who is experiencing what I was experiencing. And in a lot of ways, that was confusing because I wasn't sure that that's what I was struggling with because no one else was coming forward. Actually, they were coming forward with a lot of celebration for that experience. So, yeah.
It's really fucked up how the world treats fat people, and because I've had eating disorders my entire life. I was a bigger kid, and then in high school, I started making myself sick. I started purging. I've never been diagnosed with an eating disorder, but I consider myself bulimic. I identify as that because most of my life that has been what I know. And so being in high school, I went from a bigger size body to a smaller size body, and I experienced the same thing. I was celebrated. I was going out underage, so drinks were bought for me. People wanted to be around me. Doors were held for me, and it was really, really crazy how different I was treated. Another thing is when I was on TV, I noticed I was put on TV because I was very outrageous. I was very wild card kind of vibes. Not only was I recently sober, but I was bigger, and when you're in a bigger body, people expect you to be a lot funnier and a lot more outrageous. So I kind of had that veil of being funny and making people laugh. But it's weird because my weight and the way I looked, I think had a what's the word? It kind of made people perceive me differently. For example, I wasn't considered conventionally attractive, and I wasn't really embraced as well by the fans that I thought I would be, opposed to let's say other people who were on a similar series that weren't my size. Yeah. Which they would be lifted up and loved and celebrated because they're just stupid and they're kooky and they're themselves. But because I was bigger, I was shown a lot of kind of different criticism and different treatment. No one would say it, but
you saw it and how they acted with you.
And it was fat phobia, and it was really shitty. So I have a lot of trauma with that, actually, and I feel, and even as somebody so I had a gastric sleeve in Mexico 2 years ago, and it was something I did because I like to be more athletic. I like to feel good in my body and be able to do things. And I found that I was really using food as a coping mechanism to self-soothe and to make myself feel better about things. And so I took that out. I had a gastric sleeve, and in Canada, you need to go through a fucking process to get that shit done. You need to have therapy. You need to have all this shit. You need to go through a real crazy process. And so I was like, fuck you, I'm going to Mexico, bitches. So I did. And the quick change in me was uplifting. I felt good about myself, and I felt good feeling like I started working out again, and I really love working out. I really love doing yoga, weights, all that kind of stuff. And so to feel good in my body while I'm doing that was really great for me. And it was really nice to get told that I looked great and everything. But it really fucked with my head because people were a lot nicer to me. People were saying, you look great, and this, that, and the other thing. And there was one point when people were constantly saying that, and I was like, I'm fighting for my fucking life here. Even though I look great and I'm losing all this weight, I'm having a really hard time. I was treated just over a year ago so horribly and compared to people and really given a shit end of a stick because of my weight. And now because I weigh less and I look smaller and I'm in a smaller body, you treat me different. You think I'm more valuable to you, which really fucked me up. And then especially being so that is one thing as an entertainer and person that I view as a public person. I feel like I am a public person. People fucking look at me all the time. I don't know if you could imagine. You see this thing walking towards you. What the fuck is that? That gorgeous thing. She looks great. No, I'm just joking.
Especially with your Muppet.
My Muppet. Hi. Ventriloquism. Next time, I'm gonna have an actual puppet next time. But as a gay person, as a gay male, it was so crazy because a friend said to me, "You're hot, you can do that." I didn't realize until they started saying that to me. And then what really messes with my head is in my community, in my kind of neighborhood, there are people who wouldn't even fucking look at me before. And I get the up and down all the time now from them, and I don't even fucking look at them because I'm like, if you couldn't give me the time of day when I was bigger, then why are you even looking at me? You want to get a hello from me? Is that what you want? You want a friendly nod? No, fuck you. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, no, and I really relate to what you were saying. I remember, I had a very similar journey in terms of I had started.
You had a gastric sleeve?
No.
Oh, you went to Mexico?
I did not go to Mexico.
Oh, you got to go. It's awesome.
No, I just ate less and started moving initially. That's how I started it.
Same.
And the thing was, it started really well intentioned. I'm I just want to focus on my health. I wasn't feeling that great. It was when I started to see quote unquote progress and people started to comment on it. And I'm like, oh, I have to keep going. And for a long time, like, I just thought that was what I was supposed to be doing. And there was a lot of validation and, you know, I felt better in a lot of ways. Like, I could move differently. Like, all of those things were good. And there were a lot of positive byproducts. But one of the things I noticed is when I was at my smallest, I like didn't feel like I could fail. And like, it felt like if I went backwards, I would be failing. And so that's when like it got really bad, when I started to think like, okay, if I make the wrong step or I eat the wrong thing or I don't like exercise today, I'm not going to get that validation anymore. It became more about like how other people saw me versus how I saw myself. And that's like when it really took a turn for the worst. But it was because there was that reinforcement that this was the right thing to do. And a lot of people asking like, and I think this is why, you know, you should never make an assumption about what someone's dealing with or what their health is just by looking at them, because someone might be doing a lot of harm to their body and you might be telling them like, oh, you look great, or what's your secret? Like, how can I do this, this, and that, not realizing that they're actually really struggling. And yeah, I feel like that's something that we don't talk about enough, is how easy for us to make comments about people's bodies and assume this is healthy, this is not healthy, this is attractive, this is not attractive, when you don't know. Like, you don't know anything about somebody else's experience other than the assumptions that you have from the outside.
It's really like, and it's just like, it's really like, I'm trying to go to the gym and I'm trying to be more muscular or be more toned or whatever. And because I want to be healthier and I don't want to be rail thin. Like a few months ago, I would say April of 2023, between then around the summer too, I was very, very skinny, like very rail thin. Like I could see my fucking ribs and everything. And it's so crazy because one, there were times where I felt fat and it's like, it is nuts. Like body dysmorphia is real. And I would only eat a tiny bit a day, and I would be doing shows and I would be working out, and people would say, you look great, and this, that, and the other thing. And I would still feel fat. But then I don't know. It's just like, I knew I was too skinny. And even then at the time, like I would look back and be like, I know I was that skinny. I was too skinny. And I put a couple pounds back on since, and that happens with the surgery. And obviously muscle weighs more and everything, but you can really obsess on a number on the scale. And like, there are times where, let's say I'm bad with money or something, or like, it's like you feel shitty about yourself. Yeah, so there's like different things in your mind that you can kind of nitpick. And so sometimes I have to stop myself, but I will wish I was skinny like that again. Mm-hmm. And even though it's like, but I know that was too skinny. I wasn't healthy. And it's not like too skinny, but too skinny for me. I went from 270, which was not healthy for me at all, to 135 in the span of 2 years. Yeah. And that really, that's a big weight loss, but it fucks with your head. Like, it really does. Not just the looking at yourself, but your body shedding so much weight so quickly. It definitely has to have some kind of effect on your mind.
Yeah, totally. Well, and even, that's why it's so important to recognize that, like, eating disorders and any kind of mental health, like, it's not linear. Like, it's not like, oh, I've dealt with it and now I'm never going to have these feelings again. Like, I feel like I've done a lot of work personally to not be in the headspace of my kind of eating disorder brain. But it doesn't mean it doesn't come back every once in a while and I have a bad day and I'm like, oh, maybe I should think about what I'm eating, or maybe I should work out a little bit extra. Like, that's still going to be there. You just have to learn the strategies to quiet it. It's never going to completely go away. And I think we don't talk about that. We're like, oh, this person is healed and now they're good for the long run, where we know that that's not true. We know that there's triggers that will impact you and will bring that feeling back up at some point. It's just, how do we deal with that? And how do we have the tools to be able to respond to ourselves, knowing that that's not the voice that we want to listen to? It's
so important to, like, keep those tools in the back of your mind, in your little toolbox, because literally, it's like, we're all human, and mental health is real. And it's just like, look at cancer. Cancer can come back. Like, so why can't other things come creeping up on you? Your inner demons. I saw a lot of demons come out when I started my sobriety journey, and I didn't realize I was numbing things for a reason. So when I took those out of the equation, I started dealing with anxiety attacks really, really bad. And those would manifest in a lot of physical ways too, like really, really like would have me bedridden some days. And so I took drugs and alcohol out of the equation. I needed to create new tools and new things to figure out how to make myself feel better.
Yeah. So we talked about the fact that both of us have had that experience where we've gotten a lot of compliments about the way that we looked at a time when we were struggling. Like for you, what would you have rather someone said to you when you were in that space? Like what would have been a better way for them to address what they were seeing as a change in you?
They could have said, "Hey, Boa, here's some fucking money," and I would say, "Thank you so much." No, I don't know. I guess like it is. I guess when you're in it and people tell you that you look good, you're like, "Thank you." Yeah, it feels good at the time, but the amount of people that will tell you, like, there would be times where I would be like at a bar or an event and people. All night, people, wow, you look great. You look great. Oh my God, it's so great. You're so inspirational. And I'm like, oh, great, thank you. But like people could talk about the way I dress, because with my transformation, I've really come into my own kind of style and found who I am again. So they could compliment me on that, on the way I put myself together, rather than the way my body looks. What about you?
Yeah, I think, well, I would have wanted people actually to ask me questions. Like rather than just jump to the compliment and say like, you look great, or this, I noticed this about you, like ask me how I was feeling, and, how is your energy? Like I've noticed you're going to the gym more often. Are you liking that? What are you doing that feels good to you? Like asking more about how I'm feeling, because I think that would get to the heart of where I was at. And if I felt like I was really struggling, I probably would have been more likely to be honest, because with a compliment, you just feel like you take it and then you walk away. You don't really have anything else to engage. But if someone asks you a question, then you're more likely to respond either honestly or not, depending on how you feel in that moment. But there's an opening.
Yeah. Wow. Literally, that is so true, because there was one point when I would actually try to ask my friends how they were feeling. How are you feeling? Instead of how are you doing? What's new? Because that helps them open up more to you. And I remember I was on the phone with a friend of mine probably a year ago when I asked them, and they were like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like they were not ready to unpack how they were feeling. And I was like, oh, okay. But they were so thrown off. But I've noticed that. And I actually had a conversation with a DJ that I was working with about how I was feeling recently, because I was actually just trauma dumping on them. But if they would have asked me, how are you feeling? I would have still told them how I was feeling, because I just needed to tell somebody. And wow, it's really, what a great way to actually ask people rather than say, wow, you look great. How are your energy levels doing? I've noticed this about you, because it really is so redundant, and not everything is about the way you look. And yeah, it's more than that.
Well, I think too, it might have given some clues to the fact that you were struggling. Like, it's so hard sometimes. Like we said, you don't know what someone's experiencing unless you ask them. And like I think the best way to be able to ask someone whether or not they are struggling, if you're seeing a big change in them, is like to talk about the change, not talk about like the end result. So like, oh, I noticed you're not coming out as often, or I noticed like when we go out, you don't really want to eat with us. Like what's going on there? Like I think those are questions that don't just focus on the way that someone looks, but gives them an opening to maybe talk about the struggle that they're experiencing through this kind of care and compassion of, I've seen this change in you and I want to make sure that everything is okay. I think that's a better way of addressing if you are concerned about somebody, because that might be something that you're seeing too and you don't know how to say it.
And what about, well, I mean, like, I don't know if you would experience this as much, but people will comment on my photos and my videos, and they'll say this to other people. They'll say either rude shit to you, eat a cheeseburger, oh, you're on Ozempic. So I guess, what do you say to people when they come at you like that? Would you know? Like.
Yeah, I feel like, well, are they coming at you directly?
No, they'll come at you on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like being able to just, I don't know, I think it's hard. It depends on if you have a relationship with that person or not. Like, if you don't have a relationship with them, you don't have to respond. I think sometimes if you're engaging in that conversation, you're giving them further kind of opportunity to have that level of feedback, and sometimes not worth it if you don't have any relationship. But if it's someone you know and someone you have a relationship with, like, I think it's important to kind of stop the script and say, like, why is that something that you felt the need to say to me?
Yeah. Do you want to unpack that?
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it's something usually going on in that other person. Like, people are not commenting on something that doesn't have something to do with their own self-worth or their own self-esteem or their own body image. Like, so much of the pain and hate that people are spreading comes from this, like, projection of feelings they clearly are not able to deal with within themselves, and so they put it on somebody else. And so, yeah, I think it's trying to, like, ask those questions, and sometimes that's hard because you feel, like, hurt, and it's hard to respond in a way that's kind of rational and question asking when you feel hurt. But I don't know, I feel like as many opportunities as there are to, like, get someone else to reflect on themselves and where that's coming from, I think that's helpful, at least in my mind.
Yeah, true. I mean, like, something I learned was to not read the comments. And you don't always have to respond to things. Mm-hmm. I really learned that. Because I don't have the mental capacity for it. Bitch, literally,
That's fair.
I can barely make my own fucking dinner half the time. I don't know, like, I don't even know what shows are on what. I want to watch Family Guy. It used to be on Netflix. Now it's not on fucking Netflix. So I have to figure out how to go on Disney Plus. And then I have to get my password reset because I forgot my fucking password. So I can't be having arguments with people that I don't even know. So what do we do? Okay, this is gonna be kind of like a loaded topic question. I want to say is when I'm feeling shitty about myself, and I feel body image issues, even though I know I'm really skinny, and I walk out the door and there's fucking Ozempic ads all over the place, and just ask your doctor. And then there's, like, people that I know are on Ozempic. I'm like, do I need that? Like, why? Like, what do you tell yourself when you're kind of feeling that stuff? Because it's really promoted all over the place now, and it's really, in my opinion, very unethical that it is all over the place. Because I don't think we should be celebrating skinny bodies as much as we do, and I think we need to really focus on being healthy and taking care of yourself. So obviously it's a control thing for me and other people who may be experiencing the same thing as me. But what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I would say, well, we live in a culture that is constantly reaffirming one way of showing up in the world, one way of looking. I think that's something you can't escape, unfortunately. Like, you're going to go outside and see those ads, but I think it's the more you can remind yourself that, and it's hard, like, it's hard in those moments because it's so easily triggering to stop and say, like, I know that this isn't about me, and I know that I have things that I need to continue to work on, reflect on, but I know that I am worthy just as I am right now. And having some of those affirmations, I think, is really helpful. Like, when I have moments where I reflect on how I used to look versus how I look now, like, sometimes that can be really disheartening. I'm like, but then I remember I wasn't happy then. Like, I was way smaller, and I was also really unhappy, and I also wasn't sleeping well, and I also had all of these other byproducts. And just having that recognition that being a certain way or looking a certain way isn't the thing that's going to make you happy, and reflecting on, like, what am I grateful for now, and what do I like about my body? Like, taking that moment to switch yourself out of that mindset towards what you appreciate about yourself, I think, is a good, like, way to interrupt the thought. But it's not always possible. Like, I think it's important to have self-compassion and know that sometimes you are going to have those thoughts, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to feel that way sometimes. And if we can remind ourselves to just have grace in those moments, that it's going to pass, and you're going to have a confident moment maybe 20 minutes later. And yeah, so as many times as you can remind yourself your worthiness, I think that's
I'm all
key.
over the place.
Yeah.
Bitch, I've been in 4 different moods since sitting here.
Yeah.
You've been really pissing me off. No, I'm just joking. Wow, that's so crazy. And it's like, if you have put weight on, I guess, and if your body has changed, try to remind yourself that, I guess, if you put on weight and you're not feeling good about yourself and you're not feeling, I guess, healthy, then maybe that's actually really a cool point that you bring up. Like, wow. That's kind of interesting that you say that, because, okay, so when I was on Drag Race, I had to tell myself that, because I was very skinny at one point and I was partying a lot. I was still partying when I was big. I was actually the first person to gain weight on Coke. It's because it wasn't Diet Coke. Anyways, so on my season of Drag Race, we do a runway. And every season they do a runway. But on my season, we did first time in drag challenge. And my first time in drag, I was real fucking thin. I was very, very skinny. I wore a pair of booty shorts and a bra. And I had to recreate that look, but upgrade it. So I obviously didn't wear a pair of booty shorts and a bra. I did actually a really gorgeous hand-dyed, dip-dyed corset from black to white, and there was red all over it.
Cool.
It's like a newspaper. The old joke. What's black and white and red all over it?
I got it.
Anyways, wow, I'm so fucking funny. But it was crazy, because to see myself on the runway was obviously really like affirming. But then they throw up a photo of me in my first time in drag, where I mean, like, they had to. It's like, of course they're gonna show the before photo. I really had to be like, holy shit, I gained a lot of weight. And then people would comment like on my post or just on different forums and stuff about how I put weight on and stuff. And it was really interesting, because I had to be like, yeah, but look where you are now. Like, you should be so proud of yourself.
Totally. I had a kind of similar experience, because I was in this place where I was getting a lot of validation. At one point, I feel like I was seeking it out. Like, so I was writing articles and I was going on podcasts, like, talking about this like transformation that I had been through. And I got approached by this magazine, and I remember doing this photo shoot for this magazine, and it coming out like it was in a grocery store. Like, I see it when I walked into the grocery store, and they had photoshopped me thinner than I was. So then I like looked at this magazine, and I was like, oh, so it's not even good enough the way it is. Like, even though I've been through all this and I'm talking about it and here's what I've experienced, they still made it unattainable for even where I was. And like, that was at the point where it's like, oh, okay, maybe I need to change something here, because this story that I'm telling myself, and therefore that I'm telling other people, is not really aligned with how I want to show up, because it's not real. Like, even the pictures of myself weren't real.
It literally shows you smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about optics, and it's all about smoke and mirrors. And that is just another, wow, that is so crazy. That's another way to show you that what is reality, I guess.
Yeah.
What is real and what isn't. Because you know what? There's probably, I talk about this a lot, about comparison and stuff, because I find that I compare myself to a lot of people. And I have to remind myself that things are optics, things are smoke and mirrors, because there is probably another person who went into that grocery store and saw your photo and was like, I want to fucking be that. I wish I was on, I should have done that. I should be on that cover. I should look like that. I look better than that. But they don't realize that's not you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Even some of it was really funny, actually. They had like a recipe card at the bottom of like things that they didn't even ask me about it. They just put like food samples, and one of them,
I hope you got paid a bunch of money for this.
No, I got no money for it.
What?
Yeah. And I know,
you gotta
naive.
sue somebody.
I was naive.
Holy shit.
But yeah, they put this recipe of salad with like a cut up slice of pizza to be like, oh, but she still eats pizza. It was like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Like, who would take a salad and cut a slice of pizza and put little slices of pizza in a salad?
That's
bizarre. Like, who's ever done that? Maybe somebody, but it wasn't me.
No, my bulimic ass.
Right?
No, bitch. I just ate the whole pizza. Okay, so that is so fucking crazy. Oh my
Right?
God. Can you secretly tell me? We can bleep it out if you're okay with telling me the magazine it was?
Yeah,
Or no?
it was like not really.
Yeah, they use like really shitty paper. Really? You know you touch it.
Yeah, they sit in the bathroom.
Yeah.
You probably took a shit while this one stared at you in the eyes.
Yeah, that pizza salad looks fucking.
That pizza salad. We had Rolling Stones.
Pizza salad.
Taco salad's really good. I really like taco salad.
Yeah, that's great because that makes sense.
Yeah, but pizza salad. Okay, so
weird.
growing up, my dad always had magazines on the wall, parallel to the toilet. So when I would be farting out a load, I would be looking at Miley Cyrus on the Rolling Stones cover. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Do you remember the Miley Cyrus Rolling Stone cover where she's like, "Good golly, Miss Miley," and she's like,
I'm back, motherfucker! These motherfuckers, I swear, they tried to kill your favorite bitch! They tried to fucking kill me! I'm not going down without a motherfucking fight!
I don't know. I just really liked that. It was her bangers era. I thought that was like, you know, she was way too fucking. I shouldn't say that. Like she was too skinny, but she lost a lot of weight during that era, and she was really sexualized by the media. Actually, and there was probably people telling her she had to lose weight.
Yeah.
But I just remember that like in my mind, like, wow. Okay, so I want to talk about the comparisons of when people, because there's a few ways to look at it. So I have had people tell me, eat a burger, you're too skinny. And I've had people call me a fat ass. Sorry, I farted. So what are things, I guess, what are things you can say to people that aren't you're too skinny, or like, how do you say that? Like I guess we kind of chatted about how are your energy levels doing. If you're actually concerned about somebody, is there something you can say to them?
Well, I think, like I said, like you don't know anything about someone and their health, how they're doing, what their like physical anything is like just by looking at them. And I think that concept of, you know, even you're too skinny is really unhelpful. Like you don't know, this is maybe just be someone's body composition. Like that's how they show up in the world and that's how they look like. Like that has nothing to do with any kind of concern necessarily that you should have if that's what their body is like. I think it's significant changes. Those are the things that we might want to be mindful of, but it's also asking yourself when you see that change, if you've noticed other changes in someone's behavior. Like I feel like that's something that's more helpful to look for, that they are more withdrawn from their friends, or they're not going out, or they seem really down. Like the emotional piece is the thing I think we should be really connected to, because if someone is whatever size they are and they seem happy and vibrant and they're doing well, like why do we need to comment on it at all or ask any questions? I think it's the kind of behavioral things that we keep an eye on, and we just ask open-ended questions like, hey, I noticed that you're not coming out with us as much, like is there something going on? I think it's being really mindful of changes in someone versus they look this way or they look that way.
And that being said, I also want to bring up the topic that there is a system in place in the world that I guess makes it a different weight to both comments, whether you're saying someone is too fat or someone is too skinny, because although they're both issues that people struggle with, there's a lot of politics behind it and a lot of opportunities and ways people are treated because of the way someone sizes. And saying you're too skinny, I don't think has the same amount of weight as it is as saying someone is too fat, because if someone's too fat, then I'm sure that has affected them on a shit ton of different levels rather than somebody is too skinny. I don't think somebody has ever not been given a job because they're too skinny. I can't say that. I can't say somebody has not been given a job. I can't but there is such a difference. It's just there's such a difference that the world treats people, whether they're fat or skinny, and I think that because of that, the heaviness and the loadedness of it is different. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I feel like obviously we live in a culture that prioritizes thinness and sees people who are in larger bodies as, you know, we have a lot of like criteria that we use of assuming someone is not moving their body or not eating healthy or that they're, you know, unwell in some way just by looking at them. And I feel like, yeah, that's maybe an assumption that you wouldn't make necessarily the same way, but I don't see why we need to comment on anybody's body. Like,
Literally, yeah.
If someone is in a place where they're
Unless
feeling
you're
good,
fucking me.
yeah, or unless it's your own, or like unless it's, you know, in a really specific situation. But I can't even really.
Or
think
you're
of
paying to
them.
fuck me. Literally. So back to our conversation. Is there anything that I kind of forgot about that I haven't mentioned that you would like to mention?
Yeah, I guess for me, I would just want to say if you're someone who is struggling with your relationship to food or your relationship to your body, you know, take some time to have grace with yourself. There's so much messaging around what we should look like, how we should eat, what we should do, what our routine should look like. And it's so easy to get caught up in that and to blame ourselves rather than to look at how we're influenced and how we're impacted by the world around us. So have some self-compassion, I would be one thing that I would say, and take a moment to think about, you know, check in with yourself. Like, how are you feeling? Look at how your relationship to yourself has maybe changed over time, and just ask yourself some really good questions. I think if we have 5 minutes, 10 minutes in our day to just check in to see how we're feeling in our body in the moment, what have I been doing to take care of myself? Like asking those questions. How am I feeling? Have I, noticed a change in myself? Has there been a shift in the way that I see my body or food? Like having regular self-reflection, I think, is a good way to just get in touch with how you're feeling. And if you're noticing significant changes, like if you feel comfortable, reach out for support. Like there are people around who can provide you with insights and information, but also just a safe place to talk. If you have a friend that you really trust even, or you feel comfortable reaching out to, a distress line, like there's lots of places that will be a non-judgmental and anonymous, confidential place for you just to tackle some of those feelings. And if you need more support than that, there are a variety of resources available. So check in with yourself, because you are inevitably going to be the first person that notices that change. And by getting to it quickly and having those regular conversations, you're more likely to see when things are really starting to shift within your relationship to your body.
And I mean, like, at the end of the day, you are your main priority. You should be anyways.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that you focus on health being one of your main things you focus on, because okay, so we are going to be doing some rapid fire questions. Okay, are you ready, Hailey?
I'm ready.
Okay, sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Or Playboy? Girl, don't sell yourself short here. Jeans or cargos?
Ooh, jeans.
Fair. I like jeans too. Yeah. Dine in or dine out?
Dine in.
Anorexia or bulimia? I'm just joking. That was really inappropriate. I'm not all serious, guys. Jesus. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Fair, yeah, dog. Bar or club?
Ooh, bar.
Yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah.
for sure. Roller coaster or bumper cars?
Roller coaster. But not the ones that go upside down. Those freak me out.
Construction or?
Yeah. Bad or bougie?
Ooh, bougie.
Bougie, for sure. Live, laugh, or love?
Laugh.
I like to laugh too.
Yeah.
Rent or buy?
Buy.
Same, buy. Unfortunately, I can't afford to buy yet, but my entire life I've always been the girl to I'll just buy it if I need it. And then I don't rent it because it's yours and you have it. And then it can take up all the space that you need until you throw it out. Vampire or werewolf?
Vampire.
Okay. Wedge or stiletto?
Wedge for sure. I'm way too clumsy to wear stilettos.
Yeah, I hate stilettos. Gold or silver?
Gold.
Gold, of course. Mountains or ocean?
Ocean.
For sure. Yeah, I like the ocean. Hike or swim?
Hike.
For sure, hike. I don't really like water that much.
No, like for a swim occasionally, but I like a hike all the time.
Yeah.
I walk everywhere.
Even though I'm like, yeah, ocean, but I hate water. You know, I mean, like
sit by the ocean.
Yeah, it's just a nice vibe. Floor or ceiling?
Ceiling.
Good choice. Ye or haw?
Ha.
Ye.
My name starts with a ha.
H-A-W. H-A-W. Hailey. Okay. And remember, guys, it is to not be That's pretty good. That was all right.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think one more.
One more? Okay.
Okay.
And remember, guys, it is to not be